What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Dolphins versus the World. It is me, your host, Chase. And as always, I'm joined by our producer, Joel, and my co-host, Anthony. And Anthony, the Dolphins are 2-0 since we have decided to start a podcast. I don't know if this is a coincidence anymore. How are you doing, man?
I think it's because my wife, I think I said this on the podcast, but my wife's trying to learn the game. We actually were talking about it before because I was watching the condensed replay because the film hasn't come out, and she's asking questions about the game, and she didn't know that there's different players on offense and defense. She goes, aside from Tua, do they all play on defense as well? And I went,
what do you mean?
I was like, I'm sorry, I don't get the question. Ever since she started watching too, we've been 2-0, man. I don't know what it is, but there's definitely a lot that we're going to talk about. A sloppy game overall, but that's to be expected when you're playing the Patriots. But ultimately, you're 2-0. You're 2-0 in the AFC. You are 1-0 in your division, and I mean, this, Chase, and everyone listening does too. If you can win those division games, those away division games, that's huge because now the Patriots have to come play in Miami. And so, I think Neil Driscoll said it best. So we need some perspective, even though there's definitely stuff we're going to talk about today. At the end of the day, we all remember what it used to be like going into New England. And if we could just pull out a win in any way possible, we'd be happy. So, certainly there's stuff to talk about, but sitting here at the same time and complaining necessarily about winning by 7 points in New England, just always keep that perspective, just keep a healthy mindset. But yeah, man, we're 2-0. It's incredible.
Yeah. At the end of the day, well, not at the end of the day, but we are 2-0. I mean, look, the only thing I would compare it to that where you can't be excited about it is if you're like the Vikings last year, where they somehow ended up, I think they were 11-5 or whatever, but they were just like the worst football team to ever exist. This isn't like it's not like we have lucked our way into being 2-0. Like, this is a no mistake. Like we were the better team, I'd say, in both games. Like, the Chargers game was pretty much like a coin flip. It came down to honestly who could have had the ball last. But this game, I mean, the Dolphins were so beyond dominant. And I messaged you during the game. These are two teams in different tiers. The Patriots for so long were in a different tier than the Dolphins when they had Brady. They were so much better than us. They were in the top tier, and then we were in not even the second. We were in the third or fourth tier. And that's how it felt this game. It felt like the Dolphins for the majority of the game, and there was a lot of mistakes, and we let them back in. But that was through our doing. It wasn't anything they did. I mean, besides special teams, they were always better than us in special teams, and it's amazing how he's just. It's so funny going back to before the season when he talked for 20 minutes, Belichick, about special teams, and he's a grinder, man. But yeah, this felt like two teams in different tiers who have different aspirations. But yeah, it's just a little disappointing that it didn't be a blowout how some people thought it could have. At least I'll say that. And I was stressing the whole game, and I wish I didn't have to, but it was a fun game at the end of the day.
It was. Thoughts? Yeah. There was unnecessary. I watched this game. I went over to my parents' house. They live about 35 minutes away, so we went over there. My dad's a Steelers fan. My mom's a Cowboys fan. But we pretty much all root for each other's teams unless we're playing. Our teams are playing each other. So they had all the decorations out. Shout out to my parents. They don't listen to this, but they did a real nice job of just. Again, I know it's not there. And it was nice because the Cowboys just whooped the Jets' ass. So I went over there, we celebrated that, and then we watched the Dolphins game. But anyway, it was unnecessarily stressful. After the Raheem Mostert touchdown, I helped my dad buy the new iPhone 15 because I thought the game was over. I was like, yeah, we won, game over. And then Eli Apple changed things. But we'll get into that. But overall, yeah, this was just people said going into it, including myself, that this was going to be a chess match between Mike McDaniel and Bill Belichick. This wasn't a chess match. This was a one-person 40-yard dash. It doesn't matter what time you get. You just have to make sure you don't trip and you actually can finish. And that was the Dolphins were showing a little stumbling, oh, man, are you really not going to finish this game off? But there was at no point in this game was I ever the Dolphins are not the better team. It was just snapping issues, which we'll get into, some issues on special teams, not always the Dolphins' fault. And, really Eli Apple just keeping them in the game. But at no point was I ever worried. And really, it's been that way for the last 2-3 seasons where as long as you just don't screw up, which I said that in one of my takeaways, just, and you said it too in a different way, where as long as you're not shooting yourself in the foot a bunch of times, which we did, but as long as you're not shooting yourself in the foot a bunch of times, we're just a completely better team. The only position I went through and did a little game with myself, the only position I would say on the Patriots that's better, that I would be like, if I could switch position groups, I would be the number 2 safety. Maybe that's about it. Cornerback's better. Maybe the cornerback opposite X could be a position. But aside from that, there's not one position that's better on the Patriots. And I sat there at halftime when we were up 17-3, and I was just like, why was I nervous about this game? I think it's just because we're conditioned as Dolphin fans, because we've gotten our butts whooped so many times, not only in New England, but in Miami too. But we have to put that in the past. That's in the past. That's different. We are a much better team now. And honestly, unless it's the Philadelphia Eagles, you're a better team than every team you're going to be facing this year. Even the Chiefs, I'm going to put them in there because I've not been impressed with the Chiefs at all. They don't have any wide receivers. Turns out you need wide receivers. And, aside from that, it's like every game you're just going to go into it and say, is Tua healthy? Check mark. Remember, I want to talk about the offensive line because there was issues, but overall, just, yeah. But as long as Tua is healthy, and we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, we should win a majority of the games that we play. So yeah, ultimately, I'm really happy. But at the same time, we'll get into certain things that both you and I have concerns of moving forward.
Yeah. So I actually thought that the Patriots had a pretty good game plan. It wasn't great, but I think that's honestly what you have to do. If this offense is fully healthy, I thought their game plan was sort of give them what they want. Don't let them beat us on the big play. And then we're going to tighten it up in the red zone. When there's less space to work with and, Tyreek Hill can't run over the top of you, we'll beat you in the red zone. We'll hold you to a field goal. And that's what I thought they did. I thought that was really interesting. I don't know if I could send this to you now and you could get it up, but did you get a chance to see the next gen, passing chart for Tua?
Yeah, I did. But if you send me over the link, just send me over the link, and I'll open it up on my browser. Yeah, I just want to put the stats up real quick. I mean, talking about the game plan for the Patriots is what we expected. They're not going to give up the big play. Say what you want about Bill Belichick, but he's a phenomenal coach. You know what I mean? And so he's not going to go into this and be like, Tyreek's going to get those deep shots. They held, we talked about this last podcast. Aside from the first 2 games he's played against Tyreek, he's pretty much held him in check. Now, a touchdown and 8 yards of reception isn't necessarily holding him in check. But as you guys can see, Tyreek Hill only had 40 yards catching. Now, he was impactful because, again, he scored that touchdown, which that drive was absolute perfection. But I mean, the bigger story for me, just getting into a little bit about what they did. Tua's game, to me, was more impressive than the stats will show. And the reason I say that is because my worry going into this game for Tua was, is he going to get too antsy? Is he going to just try to take all of these deep shots? Now, the one interception that he had, underthrown, I've always said, if your quarterback does that and it's underthrown and it's just in the air, just pull the cornerback down. You're going to get a penalty, but at least they don't intercept the ball.
I thought Tyreek should have played
right. Literally, you can do whatever you want as long as he does not catch the ball and just take the penalty. At least they don't get the ball. But it was a bad throw. But ultimately, I thought Tua did a great job of just taking what was there. Hey, you might want to take a deep shot. There were a couple plays where it's like he's looking downfield, nothing's there, pass it off to Raheem Mostert or Devon Achane or Savon Ahmed. So I thought he did a great job. He still had 8.3 yards a throw, which that's average of, that's this average. Technically, he had over 11 yards per actual completion. And then you look at Mac Jones and it's like, I feel bad for Mac Jones, dude. I'm just going to say that right now. I know I shouldn't because he's a Patriots player, But my God, can you get him anyone who can separate? Mike Gesicki, the best thing he did was get the ball out of his hands and throw it to a lineman. That's the best thing he did all game. Devontae Parker, it was nice to watch, him to get his lunch money taken by Xavier Howard. And then really whoever was getting covered by Eli Apple was having a good game, which was Devontae Parker for some of it. But yeah, just God, I was watching the game and it was kind of like if you've ever had like going off the iPhone, right? Let's talk about that because I just talked about how we bought my dad a new one. If you've ever gone back to old technology after having new technology, it's alarming. And to me, when I was watching the Patriots, after just watching the Dolphins offense, it was archaic. It was like watching something from 30 years ago. And I just feel bad because I thought Mac actually played a decent game for what he has. But I mean, my God, there's only so much you can do when again, we talked about this beforehand. There's no receiver on their team that scares you. Yeah, sorry, I just ranted a lot, but I thought overall for our offensive game plan, Belichick took away those big plays, but Tua took what was there. He had a couple of insanely cool throws in this game. And then really the run game was what I thought won us this game. Raheem Mostert showing up. And I mean, again, I thought the game was over after that touchdown run. I thought it was over. I was like 24-10, it's over. But then Eli Apple had other thoughts.
Yeah. Offensively, I think that'll be sort of more what the normal game plan will be like. It won't be the check downs to the running back as much, but it's going to be run heavy. Because I don't think teams are going to be as good at taking away the middle of the field as Belichick is. So, but I think it's going to be a lot more run heavy. I think that first game, like you were alluding to, was an anomaly, and Mike McDaniel was out to prove something in that game. And boy, did he. But yeah, I think that's more of what the offense will look like week to week. So
there you go. There's your chart. I know you were talking about it. I'm trying to think if I can. Is there a way to? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, if you could see, I mean, if you could look at the one last week, I mean, I could send that too if we want, but it is all over the middle of the field typically with Tua. And then there's the narrative that he can't throw outside the numbers. I don't really think that's true, but I mean, look at this, like at the average depth of target and and just how it was to the outside, like nothing over the middle. That was what the Patriots did, because that was what killed the Chargers. I mean, and most of the time that's what the Dolphins do. They just were doing the quick slant last year, get it going. But yeah, I mean,
the notion that Tua can't throw outside the numbers, he can. He doesn't do it a lot because it's not his bread and butter. It's like Justin Herbert winning games. He can do it. It's just it's not his bread and butter. He's not good at it. It's like if you ask Tua to throw it out like a pass outside the numbers, he can do it. It's just his MO is inside the numbers, insane accuracy. So again, I don't like the notion that he can't, do this, he can't do that. No, it's just this is what he's best at. So that's what they focus on. So,
And then I'll say a bit about the defense, and then we'll go more into the game. But defensively, I mean, the Patriots, man, like you said, then their offense is better than last year. That's the scary part. They had Matt Patricia on the plays. My God. But yeah, I thought Fangio, obviously everyone's going to agree that the defense stepped up a lot from the standpoint of the Patriots, like what their offensive game plan was. It appeared to be just like, who is Eli Apple covering? Get the ball to him in whatever way we can. And it was a good game plan. I just hope other teams don't copy that. But yeah, that was alarming. We need reinforcements here because
I thought that the Patriots, like myself and like probably many Dolphin fans, were a little shocked at how well we stopped the run. I don't know if I could let me pull up real quick the stats again to just so people have the visual.
Fans were really shocked about that.
I mean the Patriots right here, they had 25 rushes for 88 yards, and Mac Jones accounted for 25 of those. So in actuality, they went 20 for 63. So I think it was like 3.1 yards a carry. So I think personally, the game plan for them was probably go in like Brian Flores did, like Belichick did, all of them. Let's keep the game tight. Let's make it messy. Let's keep them off the field. And I think that a lot of people, including their staff, including me, were shocked at how well we stopped the run. And I really don't think schematically there was much of a difference. They played a lot of nickel, the Dolphins. I think it was just what we talked about last week. Guys just have to step up and play better. I swear to God, if I see Andrew Van Ginkel play anywhere other than edge any more this season, I'm going to flip my lid, because there's always a positive to every negative. And yes, Jalen Phillip wasn't out there, and I can't wait for him to come back. But that forced Andrew Van Ginkel to have to go out and David Long to play more linebacker. And I don't know why it would ever change. Andrew Van Ginkel's a playmaker. The fact that he's making 6.5 times less money than Emmanuel Ogbah is alarming to me. There needs to be a balance there, because like Andrew Van Ginkel, to me, I mean, he was one of my MVPs for the game. Just the scenario you're put in, what he's been asked to do this offseason. He's just a player that you need on your team. But yeah, I think that overall, just like they did a way better job stopping the run. And like you and I talked about, you don't have to worry about Justin Fields. You don't have to worry about Justin Herbert. You don't have to worry about Justin Fields, period. Separate topic. You don't have to worry about Justin Herbert running the football. And I know I was shocked they gave up that long run to Mac Jones, but you don't have that threat there. And also you don't have to worry about the wide receivers, because I know the Chargers fan base wants any other receivers other than what they have, but they have really good wide receivers. They just need a quarterback who knows how to win. But they don't have to worry about that with the Patriots. You just play the Patriots, and again, you don't have to worry about anyone running by you. So I didn't think the game plan was much different. I thought guys just executed it, and it's just not as good of a team as the Chargers. But if the Dolphins can stop the run as effectively as they did, I mean, that's going to be huge, because there was a lot more third and longs this game. Against the Chargers, it was like 3rd and 1 every time. Ultimately on defense, the ability to stop the run was huge. And then everyone pretty much played really well except Eli Apple. It didn't matter who he was guarding. It was just like first down every single time, or like 7-8 yards every time. But yeah, overall, and like we said, and like I was saying this last week, you got to give these guys time to settle. It's week 1. You got to give these guys time to settle into a new scheme. So let's do this now. We'll go through kind of not player by player, but some players we saw positive, and we'll do some negative players. I think we'll probably have the same ones, but yeah, I'll start with Andrew Van Ginkel. Just an incredible game. If you're going to get that kind of production from him once a season, I mean, his contract is worth 10 times that already. For him to just do that, I mean, basically like took a game over at points. But what to me, the only concern is how is Van Ginkel doing that? But then when Phillips is in, like Phillips should be at least doing that if Van Ginkel is. But I'm not criticizing James Phillips. I think he's great, but it was just a little eye-opening. And then funny enough too, like when if you follow Anthony on Twitter, he ripped Chubb there, and that's what I was doing in my house too. I'm like, Bradley Chubb is so trash. Like, what is he doing on this team? Like, how much he's making, how much we're paying this guy, and then he turns it around. And like just literally as soon as I tweeted that, it was where he did the fumble. I literally was like, oh my God. Like sometimes I'm like, Anthony, just stop talking and just like why? Like as soon as I tweeted that, I kid you not, I tweeted that, and then like 2 plays later was the fumble where he swiped the fumble. But again, he had a good game. I will say I agree with you. There is a conversation that we need to have where we can appreciate Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, but also ask ourselves, why did Andrew Van Ginkel take over the game more than we've ever seen Bradley Chubb take over a game? And then really,
like Van Ginkel was like Cameron.
I'm trying to think again. I'm just calling it as it is. I'm not saying that Andrew Van Ginkel's better. I'm not saying that I like him more. Jalen Phillips is probably my favorite. Man, aside from Tua, I think he might be my favorite player just because if he's always like doing stuff off the field and helping out in the community. He's probably one of my favorite players. But at the same time, like Andrew Van Ginkel impacted the game. Let's just say this. Jalen Phillips has never done more than Andrew Van Ginkel did last night. Yeah. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have a higher ceiling. I'm just saying at Jalen Phillips' best, it's what we saw last night from Andrew Van Ginkel. And that's weird to me. I'm not trying to make a statement
I didn't think Van Ginkel had that in him.
Right. I'm not trying to say like I'd rather have Jalen or Andrew Van Ginkel over Jalen Phillips. What I'm just saying is it goes to show how impressive Andrew Van Ginkel was last night. And, I don't know how you can get him more involved. It's not an inside linebacker. For the love of God, never use him there again. But I think that having a player like him is great because it gives guys like Chubb and Phillips rotation, so they're not as tired, and it gives you confidence as a fan and as a coach to know that when they're out, you're going to be just fine. Kind of like a Kendall Lamb, right?
Yeah. Same thing. It seems to me like this speculation, but they want him on the field. Like that's why I think he was playing maybe like they see the potential they see, and they were trying to get him at middle linebacker. I'd be super curious to see what happens when Phillips comes out. But yeah, I mean, they want him on the field because like it's the same thing with Sealer. Like he's going to have a play or two a game where he just like completely blows it up, like gets a sack. And then, yeah, so anything else on Van Ginkel? I got another player I kind of want to talk about.
No, I mean, I agree. He's definitely up there. I don't really have an order specifically of like 1, 2, 3 or whatever, but I don't know how you could watch this game and not immediately think of him as one of those players. Yeah, nothing really else to add there. He did a great job.
I thought another player who had a great game was Christian Wilkins. I thought Christian Wilkins not 24 million or anything, but definitely it was nice to see him making an impact. And just being like, that was one of the better Christian Wilkins games that I remember seeing, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I thought he had a good game. 1 sack, I believe, or it may have been like a half sack or something, but yeah, I thought he played a great game.
Yeah, Christian Wilkins had a sack. I don't know. They probably credited him with the full sack because it's listed as 1 sack. My second player, I think that even though it's a cop-out because it's more than one player, just the offensive line. I mean, I know there were certainly plays that, you're always going to find a couple of plays a game where you're going to be like, this guy got beat or this guy got beat. But 1 sack in 2 games against the Chargers defensive line and the Patriots defensive line I didn't expect that. I thought about this last night. We're so crazy hyped about the win, and we just got home from my parents, and I was like, we're 2-0 without Teron Armstead.
Yeah.
Like last year, if Teron Armstead was out, we were like, okay, well, let's just forfeit. I'm not saying I'm pretty sure we probably won without him, but that's the mindset. And like, maybe it's Kendall Lamb is the player I want to talk about, but really all together, we'll talk about, really, I should say this, everyone except Connor Williams is what I should say, because Connor Williams plays great, but the impact of a bad snap just far outweighs the other good plays that he has. Yeah, because he's great.
The Raheem Mostert 35-yard run, him and Robert Hunt on that play.
Exactly. And I think that's the bind that I'm in, and I know the coaches are probably in, is, okay, yes, there's a snapping issues, but he's so damn good at what he does. So it's like, if you move him, who's going to give you comparable value without, like, because again, it's not like Isaiah Wynn's playing bad and you're going to have a significant, like, Connor Williams would also be another good left guard, probably better. Yeah. Better than Isaiah Wynn, but what's the drop off at center?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But you're right. But
that one.
And we'll talk about the snaps a little, because I thought that, if you don't mind, I'll get into it real quick. Just like, I counted 4 bad snaps. There was the high snap that was to Savon Ahmed, I think it was Raheem Mostert, where remember, was that right? It was like at the end of the game. That's 1. There were 2 bad fumble exchanges. I don't know whose fault that is. Again, I've never played quarterback. I've never played center. I don't know. I'm going to blame it on both, but you need to figure it out. And then there was an earlier one where Tua, it was when we should have gotten a touchdown the first drive, and Tua like kind of tweaked his ankle and then just threw it out of bounds. That was weird. But
there was on the kneel at the end of the game.
Oh my God. I did. Yeah, I didn't even. So that's what I'm saying. It's like we had 3 last week and 5 this week. You cannot have 8 bad snaps. It was never this bad at any point last year. And to me, my saving grace when I thought about this was always, okay, maybe it's just when it's in shotgun. If you get under center, it's fine. It's honestly gotten to the point now where it's like, doesn't matter. A snap exchange is the most fundamental part of football. You cannot have a play without a snap exchange between the center and the quarterback. And it's like the fact that that's become the most worrisome part of our team is concerning, because when it comes time for the playoffs, if the Dolphins are in this conversation, that can cost you. The only reason the Patriots were in this game was because of bad snaps. That was the only reason. If it weren't for bad snaps, then again, that the game would have been over right after the that last drive. Instead of the field goal, McDaniel was going to go for it. It was 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
We're destroying them on the run game. You're going to pick up 2 yards, but even if you don't, you go for it on like 4th and 1. You're not going to kick the field goal, and they're not going to get the ball that close. So the game could have been over then. But yeah, overall, just sorry, I went on a tangent real quick just to address that. But the offensive line, yeah.
Well, as far as Connor Williams goes, like the thing I kind of wanted to say, like, and as I was talking before, like around the margins it's concerning. Like I truthfully feel like there is going to come a point this season where we lose a game because of Connor Williams being able to snap the ball. Like that would not shock me at all. If we're talking here one week and it's like, well, we had the ball on the 1 yard line with 30 seconds left and it was a bad snap and then they turned it over. Like we wouldn't be surprised. We'd be like, we saw this coming. It was totally who didn't see this coming. Like, so that's one thing I feel like at one point this year, I truthfully feel like there's going to be a game cost because of Connor Williams and Tua's snap exchange. I kind of tried to look, and on one of them, I couldn't tell you which one. Connor Williams, like he left early. Like you got to make sure it's in the guy's hands, like the quarterback's hands. There's some where Tua pulls away too early too. Like you'd have to really go in and watch to know. But yeah, I don't understand how that's happening under center. Like once every 5 games, okay. Once the season is honestly all it should be. But like just practice, like go take 2 hours after practice, whatever, like, and just get it down. Like that's at least when I was playing youth football or high school football, that was a problem. Like that'd be what would go happen. Like these guys got enough time. This their lives. Like,
I mean, I was watching because I have the Sunday ticket and they have like the multicast where you can watch all 4 at once. So I watched 4 games and then I watched the Jets game fully, the Jets Cowboys, and I didn't see one bad snap exchange. You cannot like 8 snap exchange in 2 games is enough snap exchange issues for the AFC for a year.
Yeah.
You should not be having 8 snap exchanges. And yeah, I agree with you. Won't be shocked if it costs us a game. I just hope it doesn't get to that point because like this game, we are too talented of a team for it to even be close. This should have been a snooze fest. It should have been 17-3, and then it should have been that just over. The game should have been won. Yeah, the game should have been won like 30 to like 17, 30 to 10. This shouldn't have been a close game, but that's typically how good teams lose games. Good teams lose games by shooting themselves.
You let a better team in the door in a game like that, like a team that's better than the Patriots, they will take advantage.
Right. They've gotten lucky 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
The Chargers game, you played a quarterback that can't win, and you played a coach that's going to be fired by the end of the year. And then and even despite all of that, you could have probably still lost. And then you played a Patriots team that's just like void of talent everywhere except quarterback and like defensive line. But aside from that, it's like barren and running back. I like Ramondre Stevenson a lot, to be honest. I like him coming out.
Another player, at least I think that it's going to cost us a game at some point. Jason Sanders. I don't get it at this point. Like
2 years in a row now.
3 years now. Like 2, 3. The first year he was here, I was very optimistic. I loved it. Then I believe that's the year the problem started to come, where it was like anything over 50 yards, it's not going.
As soon as he got his contract.
Yeah. And I was been at the games, like in the background. That might be a game I was yelling at Jason Sanders to cut him, and like it is so bad at this point. I saw the stat. I believe it's over 40 yards. I want to say he's 33% for his career. That is not an NFL kicker. That is not.
I mean, the stat last night that like I was screaming. So let's go back and rewind. We're at the game. We're watching the game, and it's 3rd and 1. There's the fumble exchange, or 3rd and 2, fumble exchange. Tua just has to fall down, 4th and 4. McDaniel talked about in his press conference, he was going to go for it. Even if they didn't get the 3rd conversion, he was going to go for it. But after the bad snap, he didn't want to. So the snap led to that. Now, with that being said, never in a million years would I have chosen to either punt the football or kick a field goal. Would I have chosen to kick the field goal? Jason Sanders' stat last night, he's 4 for 12 on kicks over 50 yards.
So bad.
30% on kicks over 50 yards. And I know the 50-yard field goal, look, I'm not trying to say that right now I could go out and kick a 50-yard field goal, but I'm also not an NFL player. If you judged me at personal training, or you judged me at, I don't know, something that I do, then okay, I'm not a kicker. I'm going to judge you on kicking field goals because that's the only thing you do on the team. Okay. And the fact that you are basically, it's a guaranteed almost a miss after 50 yards. And I think both you and I, we're not talking about the block field goal. That was just a really creative play. And okay, kudos to you. That was a good play.
We just
But if I was McDaniels, Mike McDaniel, I was screaming at the TV. I'm like, we're gonna miss it. And my entire family doesn't know why I'm saying that. My wife, Holly, she's like, why are you saying that? Like, why shouldn't he make the field goal? And I was like, he sucks at kicking field goals over 50 yards. My parents are confused because it was only like
this is the NFL. Well, you should be making
it was a 55 yarder, which is hard. But I was more so, it wasn't even mad at him because I already knew it wasn't going to be good. I didn't need to watch the kick. It was mad. I was like, why are you kicking it? It was the same thing about like, I don't know who's telling McDaniel to challenge. They need to be fired. I don't understand how they still have a job. It's not McDaniel's fault all the time, but he also can see the billboard or the not billboard. But I'm just like, I don't know who's doing that. And I don't know how Jason Sanders still has a job on the team. I don't know how they brought in really no competition for him all off season. I'm not sure how Danny Crossman. But yeah, just like, again, it's things like that where we're sitting here talking about it when there was no need to, because this game shouldn't have even been close. And there shouldn't be the conversations about the 4th and 1 play. There shouldn't be any of those conversations because, again, little things like that hurt you. And it ended up being way closer. But anyway,
just real quick, in the playoffs, like that's the stuff that games come down to. Like the coin flips matter. Like the little tiniest margins are what's going to separate us from winning a playoff game and hopefully more, and losing one. Like it's how many times have you seen in playoffs where it comes down to the kick? Like we could sit here for hours talking about famous missed kicks.
Right.
It's what it comes down to, and I do not trust this guy. Let alone like under 40 yards, he's great. He's great. I'll give him that. But like I don't trust his confidence now. It has to be rock bottom. Like, and anything over 50, I'd chalk up as a miss. Like, I don't even want to bother attempting it. Like on 4th, go for it. Like, and get the ball there anyways. Like, is pretty much how I see it. At least we have a chance to get a first down.
And I assume people know this, but I'm just going to clarify because I didn't know it honestly until about like 5 years ago, until I like started like watching football. So a field goal is 10 yards of the end zone. And then 7 yards back is where they snap and hold it. So if you're missing anything over 50 yards, I want to clarify this. Your offense has to either go for it or punt the football if you're anywhere outside the 33-yard line. That to me is a crime in the NFL, because if you think about like, you can't punt inside the 33-yard line. It's not just like, the 55-yard field goal that was at the 38. I honestly would have, just because do a quick punt and just down them inside the 5 or the 10. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. But like the thought as a coach that you have to worry, like you have to be inside the 30-yard line in order for you to feel confident about kicking a field goal. That's ridiculous. That's horrible. That's way too much stress on your offense. And when you word it like that, you're like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that way. Because you hear 55-yard field goal and you're like, wow, that's a lot. 50 yards is a long field goal. When you think about it from the standpoint of that's at the 33-yard line, you're like, ooh, like McDaniel, I'm like, dude, you're putting more stress on yourself. Like, surely you can find someone that can be just slightly better from 50 yards. I'm not saying he needs to be Justin Tucker, but yeah. Anyway, we can get into our third player. I don't even know if I think you got into your second player. We can get into our third player, but we had to go off on that tangent because yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
I've been calling for Jason Sanders' head for a long time now. But other than that, some players I thought didn't play the best game. I honestly, this may be just the one play sticking. Honestly, Tua I thought played fine. He had like I do want to kind of touch on the interception, and then I mean Braxton Berrios is lucky. That was such a great throw, but Braxton Berrios is lucky he didn't die on that one throw. I mean, look, it was a tough game. I mean, the Patriots, like, he was definitely out of his comfort zone and it's games like this where I feel like he needs to have the safety blanket in a solid tight end, and Durham Smythe is the go-to guy. They love that one wheel route that he runs. And Durham Smythe has caught it all. So maybe we were not too low on Durham Smythe. We didn't see the potential, but I mean,
I was pretty high on him. Pretty high on him.
I kind of just want to say real quick, sorry, Austin Jackson was what I was trying to get to for not blocking Matthew Judon, which is a tough challenge on that one play. Maybe also it's because he played so great last week against Bosa. I was kind of expecting him, but like we were saying before the season, it seems like there's always one or two plays where Austin Jackson is just flailing around. It looks like he's just not even he looks like a wide receiver trying to block a D end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little if it warrants it, in my opinion, I'll be pretty hard on Austin Jackson just because I've got to the point where it's like, if you're not consistently producing, I'm done with you. But I thought, again, you're going against Matthew Judon. He's a good player. They are paid money too. That spin move was like a nasty spin move. It's hard. But yeah, I wasn't too hard on him. And then with the Tua, the interception, we have to talk about this because there's this notion for some reason that Tua can't throw the deep ball. And what I've noticed, and here's my conclusion that I've come to, Tua sometimes will throw a 40-yard pass effortlessly. The pass against Tyreek Hill last week when he was doing inside leverage all game against JC Jackson, effortless. But for some reason, he'll put his full weight and motion and energy into a 47-yard pass, and it's short. And I don't think it's that Tua can't throw the deep ball. I think if Tua had the proper form and threw a ball, he could throw it 60, 65 yards, no problem. But on the Tyreek pass, I looked at it and I was like, it was only 45 yards. I know Tua can throw 45 yards. Yeah, he may not have Mahomes where he can step on a back foot and throw 60 yards, but most quarterbacks don't. But there's this thing with Tua, and it happened last week on that first crosser, that deep crosser from Tyreek, where it was, if he hits him, it's probably a touchdown, where sometimes it's I know you can make this throw, but his footwork gets weird and he there's something going on with the motion. And I'm not trying to discredit his training and him, because he's gotten great training and great footwork. It's just, I've noticed it's not that he can't throw the deep ball. It's just sometimes it's not consistent. But yeah, I thought too overall, I mean so there's a route in football for those listening that don't know. There's a route called a whip route. A whip route is you'll run a slant and then you'll stop on a dime and then you'll just run towards the sideline on an out route. And they call it a whip route. And slot wide receivers like Braxton Berrios have that's their best route. Cole Beasley uses it all the time. Braxton Berrios yesterday did a whip route into a wheel route. And I'd never seen that before. And it was really, really cool. That was that dime that Tua had. to Braxton Berrios as a whip route into a real route, and he just fitted in there. The angle he threw it at was really cool. Yeah, Braxton could have gotten hit really hard. Also, I thought it was stupid that they kept the clock rolling. Like every 9 times out of 10, when a guy gets out of bounds, you stop the clock. But they're like, his knee hit at this precise.
Yeah, that was
like, dude, what are you doing? Now it doesn't matter because like now it doesn't matter because like it was effortless. It was like Tua was just waiting there and he was like, "Can I snap the ball yet?" And they were like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, touchdown." Like it was effortless. But real quick, I wanted to talk about this because I didn't get to my third, and I want to mention this third standout, and that is Mike McDaniel. And I know he's not a player. Mike McDaniel right now, for my money, is the best play caller in the NFL. You could say Kyle Shanahan, and honestly, let's just say, actually, let me put Shanahan at 1 just because the consistency and the fact that he's been doing it. But if you're talking about creativity on offense, Mike McDaniel, I mean, the stuff he does is just incredible. I mean, like some of it goes over my head because again, I'm just not like, I'm not an NFL coach and, you know, I rely on the people who know more about it. Some stuff does go over my head, but like the way he like manipulates the defense and then you pair that with Tua's eyes and and just how decisive he is. Watching his offense is like, it's like watching your favorite movie. Like I get excited to watch film of the Dolphins. And I mentioned this, I like to play Madden just because it's really the only like video game mainly that just because it's football. And even though Madden hasn't been good, it's still, you get to play as your team. And like, I don't enjoy playing Madden anymore because of Mike McDaniel, because like, I can't, the plays aren't the same. And like, I'm like, this offense is way more creative than this game. And like, I enjoy watching film of Mike McDaniel's offense more than I enjoy like playing it and being able to do whatever I want. I still enjoy watching it more because like, again, you're going against Bill Belichick and like he outcoached Bill Belichick. Like, I don't think we're talking about that enough. Like Bill Belichick had no answers for the Dolphins offense. None. The only reason the Dolphins offense did not score a lot is because, again, the underthrow from Tua and, again, little bad exchanges and stuff like that. But the field goal gets blocked, and that was inside 50, so he probably is going to make it. He missed the other field goal, which I'm not even going to count that. And then there's, again, the first drive. We don't talk about that. Bad snap exchange, and then he twists his ankle a little bit. It leads to, like, the Dolphins – anytime they wanted to go down the field, aside from like 2 drives, they were. And to do that against Bill Belichick in New England, it's just like, I just love Mike McDaniel so much. His halftime.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like, he's like, I'm not doing anything. And then he's sprinting. Yeah. Like, my whole family was cackling so loud watching that. I just love our head coach. And I think that, you know, unless
we may finally have one. Honestly,
unless behind the scenes he's like an asshole like Brian Flores was, then I mean, I just really like our head coach, and I thought that 2 weeks in a row now he's gone against a supposed defensive guru, Brandon Staley, which, like, my God, I watched that game too against Tennessee. Remember when I said Ryan Tannehill is it's a great value Justin Herbert? I think it's reversed. I think it's the other way because Ryan Tannehill actually knows how to win the games. But anyway, I digress. Against a team that figured him out last year and against Bill Belichick, he has incredible games. And, you know, you have to understand Bill Belichick's going to do his part and he's going to stop things. So I don't think you did either. I didn't go into this game expecting big plays. I didn't. But remember what I said? I said, just find ways to get your playmakers the ball, screen to Waddle for 25 yards. Like, that's how you beat them. You have to find creative ways. And I thought he did a great, I thought he did a great job. And 2 weeks in a row now, he's just impressed me. And we'll see, because now you're going to go against Sean Payton, who is a good offensive mind. And then you're going to go against the Bills, who that's a huge game. So, I mean, man, it was exciting, but I had to put him in there. I know he's not a player, but I just, to not credit the creativity, the work he's done in the offseason of creating zigs to the zags. It's just been awesome.
Yeah. And I'll give it stand out to Vic Fangio, because as much as everyone dogged on him last week, I think it's pretty clear that, he's got answers. He's not Josh Boyer. He's going to adjust. And funny enough, when it was like the first series and the Patriots started driving the ball, I'm like, I was texting my friends. I'm like, this defense is bad. This defense is bad. And then the spot to like flip the switch. We got the sack, backed them up, and then the defense was great. Some big time plays that are, typically interceptions and especially fumbles are not repeatable. They're more sort of random or poor decisions, but big time plays when you needed them. That was good to see. But yeah, I think as a whole, like we were saying, the defense played a lot better, and I think that it's only going to continue to improve. So kudos to Vic Fangio. I hope he changed some people's opinions, and because like we said last week, some people are already writing his obituary.
Dude, I kid you not, there was a person after the first drive that said, I don't like this defense. And I was like, it's been 4 minutes of an NFL game. It's one drive. I just don't understand. Like, I'm like, y'all were defending Josh Boyer, and behind the scenes, he took credit for 2021's defense, even though it was Gerald Alexander and Brian Flores calling it, and you defended him and we're okay with him. And now after one drive, you're giving up on Vic Fangio. I don't like, you got to give players time to adjust to the scheme, realize I've been for 4 years now, 3 years under Flores and 1 year with Josh Boyer, told how to do defense this way. And now you're asking me to do it a different way in a different scheme. You have to give them time. Yes, it helps that you're playing a severely less talented team than the Chargers with the Patriots, but you have to give them time to adjust. And again, if we get into week 6, week 7, week 8, and it's like, my God, he's given up 24, 27 points a game. Okay. But like after the first, like even next week, I'll start judging this defense like around if like with how bad the Chargers and Panthers have looked, or Chargers, the Giants, well, Chargers too, but with how bad the Giants and the Panthers have looked, if we're struggling against them, okay, then we'll talk. But like give them, I always say, give a team 4 weeks. After 4 weeks, you know what a team is. So give them 4 weeks, figure it out. But the fact that even while you're figuring it out, you're still 2-0, thumbs up.
And any other closing thoughts on the game? None for me. Last thing I'll say, actually, it was awesome to see Foxborough dead silent. You could hear a pin drop in that stadium at times. That was great. And I want us just to get one more and start seeing, they say it in England, fire drill when the stadium starts clearing out. Love that. Love that. But yeah, that was great to see those fans just dead silent for the majority of the game. Sucked that we gave them some life at the end, but yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I don't know if you want to touch on the Waddle injury. That's the only thing I can think of, is the Waddle, he got a concussion. I personally, I don't know how other people feel. I don't think it was intentional, the hit. I think it was just a guy falling, a guy running in. You hit him with your helmet, and, I see a lot of people saying it's a dirty hit. I personally don't think it's a dirty hit. I definitely think it was a penalty, because anytime it's helmet to helmet, it's a penalty. But I don't think it was intentional. Now, what we talked about this a little bit before, it worries me from a standpoint of it's the Miami Dolphins. And so will he be ready to play this week? And will that even matter? Because I feel like the Dolphins are going to be very cautious at putting him back in, because they know what happened last year. I would bet my money on he's not going to play even if he is ready, because, hey, you give him a full week to rest, have him back. You're going to need him in Buffalo. But the last thing I want personally is, God forbid anything happens. Even if he does everything the right way, clears the concussion protocol, plays the game, it's the Dolphins, and God forbid he gets another concussion, it's going to be all hell breaks loose. So, he might be ready. I don't think they'll play him. But while you're getting your thoughts on it, I wanted to bring up a tweet. I'll try to find it, but I'll do it while you're trying to bring up your thoughts on the Waddle injury.
Yeah, I just from this is pure speculation. just from how he sort of was using social media after the game, I think like you said, he's going to be good to go. Personally, I think he's going to play, but I would not be shocked if they held him out. Like you said, just because of the optics and everything. The only other injury I do kind of just want to talk about would be Teron and Jalen Phillips. I think I don't know what either of them are. Back for Phillips, it sounds concerning, but I haven't heard that it's going to be a long-term thing. So I'd hope he's good to go. I kind of would like to see Teron play. I don't think throwing him into actually, maybe you could wait for Buffalo. I think Denver's pass rush might be better than Buffalo's. But yeah,
Buffalo's might be better than Denver.
Yeah, that too. But I'd like him to see. I don't know if you want his first game to be divisional against Buffalo. So I'd like to see Teron play. At the same time, I don't know if he's ready to play. Seemed like he was because he was practicing. But
I thought he was going to play. I was honestly shocked when he didn't. But you get to a point where you're walking this fine line of like, maybe we should wait and try to get healthy Teron Armstead towards the end because Kendall Land's doing well. But then you're also like, the last thing I want is to us lose a game or cost us a game because Teron didn't play. But I mean, I don't know. I to be honest, I don't get into the next week's game until after this. I put all my focus in this, and then I'll watch all 22 of last game, and we talk about it a little bit before next episode. But I don't know anything about the Broncos defense, edge rushers, but I think really until Buffalo, it's going to be, they're not going to put Teron Armstead out there until he's literally 100%, because if you're able, again, one sack in 2 weeks against two good defensive lines. I don't think the Broncos defensive line is as good. So would it shock me because again, I was under the impression he's going to play. He practiced all week fully, except like one day. And so would it shock me to know that he's healthy, but they're just like, hey, let's just postpone it. Let's just wait a little, because the more games we can get without you and win, So, but anyway, I want to talk real quick or show this about the Jalen Waddle thing. This is a great tweet by Chris Kaufman from 3 yards per carry. I'm not really worried about the Waddle injury, to be honest. And it's because, I didn't know this, but Miami without Jalen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa on the field, he's dropped back to pass Tua 29 times when either one or both of them has been off the field. And he's gained 314 yards. By the way, he's thrown for 715. So he's thrown almost half of his yards without one or two of them on the field. And he's had 3 touchdowns, which he's only thrown 4 this season. But not only, but you know what I mean? He's thrown 4. So I'm not necessarily that worried because, we saw it this offseason. They were putting him out there with guys like Dawood Davis and, because they were trying to get this offense consistent without Hill and Waddle on the field. So if Waddle doesn't play, I don't think it's necessarily the biggest deal. However, they are going against Patrick Surtain. So I expect him to be on Hill most of the game, and someone else will have to step up. But you have Braxton, who Tua seemed to have great chemistry with. You have Ezukama, and you have River Craycraft, who showed up this past week too. So I don't think it's a huge deal. Obviously would love to have him out there, but similar to the Armstead thing, I'd rather you slow play it because I think you can still win the game without him.
Yeah. And look, it's going to be awesome. It's going to feel good to finally have a home game. Been 2 tough games on the road, but like you said before, 2 out of 7 wins on the road already. It's pretty good. But yeah, I'm personally fired up for us to finally have a home game. I'll be at the game. And I know it's going to be just a great atmosphere. There's in a long history of the Dolphins, I don't know if there's ever been quite this much buzz. There's definitely been buzz last year, but it was more of a, what's going to happen. But now people know how good this team can be. So I expect the stadium to just be absolutely rocking, and we'll see what happens. I'd like to maybe get something for Dolphins versus the world at some point this season at a game. We'll play it by ear, but yeah, keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I'm excited to be there with all the Dolphins fans. We'll have a great atmosphere, guys. Let's bring it. But yeah, you got anything else?
No, I agree. I agree with everything. I would say that at least since we've been fans, you and I, because we're about the same age, since we've been fans, I've never experienced this. Just consistent. I mean, the Dolphins right now are the best team in the NFL, other than the 49ers and the Cowboys too. But the Cowboys, it's every year, it's the same. But I'll put them in there, especially thank God, like they whooped so much for the Jets defense, right? But but it also is hard when your quarterback Zach Wilson. What did Shannon Sharp say today? Zach Wilson couldn't play dead in a horror movie. Man, oh man, I was like, well, that's brutal. But no, I don't. Since I've been a fan, again, my first year as a fan was 2007, I think. That was the year again when we went 1-15, I believe. That was a lot. That was my first year as a fan, which is pretty brutal start. But since I've been a fan, there's never been this much hype. I've never had this much optimism. And so yeah, we'll carry it into next week. I'm excited to get to watch the Denver film because I have this weird feeling like this is a harder game than I expect, but also at the same time, I'm not going to fall in the trap of last week where I was worried about the Patriots, even though I should have never been. I'm going to, again, look at the players, watch the film, and try to do my best to come up with something. Because again, last week I got way too paranoid and nervous about the Patriots game, even though I thought we'd win. I was just really nervous about it, and I was sat there at halftime. I was like, why? The same thing happened. Right. The same thing happened. Yes. The same thing happened last year with the Browns game. I was at work, and one of my coworkers is a Cowboys fan. And I was like, we beat the Browns, like we dominated them. And he was like, why did you not think you would? And I was like, I don't know. I was just like nervous because I feel like they have a decent, he's like, dude, they're the Browns and you guys are like a really good team. So sometimes we need more of that mentality now. I know it's hard because we've never been this good, but sometimes you just need to be like, we're way better. So like, I'm going to expect us to win. And if we lose, it's because something crazy happened.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where we may have to start giving this team benefit of the doubt, which is crazy. But yeah, there may come a time here in the next few weeks where, look, this team's going to find a way to win. Feel like
I'm picking the Dolphins. I'm letting you know, we don't even necessarily, you don't even need to ask me on Sundays who I think is going to win the game, because until the Dolphins show that they are not this good, I will be picking them every single week. I think they are better right now than the Bills. I think they're better than the Chiefs. I think they're better than the Eagles. I think they're better than every team in the NFL other than maybe the Cowboys and the 49ers, because of just they're also playing really good football. But until they prove, like, I look at the next 3 games, not to get ahead of ourselves, Broncos should be a win. The Bills, let's just say at worst, let's just give it a loss because they're a good team and you're playing in Buffalo. Let's just say that. Giants and the Panthers, like the Dolphins could legitimately be 5-1. No. So yeah, I'm just going to be picking the Dolphins every week until we start sucking. So just so you know, and Joel knows, and everyone out there knows, you don't really need to wait for my reaction. The Dolphins are going to win this Sunday, and we're going to win next Sunday. And until proven otherwise, that'll be my pick every week.
Come on, you got to give the fans a little cliffhanger. You could have kept it.
They have to watch for you. They have to watch for you. They have to watch for you to see who you're going to pick. I'm just letting you know, there's no cliffhanger here. I jumped off the cliff with a Dolphins paraglider that says we won. There's no cliffhanger for me. So yeah.
But yeah, on that note, I'm excited to get to preview the next game. Like I said, I'll be at the game, so I'm super pumped up about it. But for us at Dolphins versus World, you know the drill. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. If you've made it this far, come on, drop a comment, drop a like, something. We'd love to hear it. And it truly, really does. Like the YouTube algorithm, believe it or not, it values that sort of thing. So it helped get us out there to more people and get you, joining along with some other people here. So if you made it this far, it's the least you can do for us. And for always, for us at Dolphins versus World, fins up, baby.